Hi, I'm a drawing that watches stuff, and given that there's a screenshot of Annie M carrying a chainsaw in the film I saw, it pretty much sets the tone of my experience. I love The Wizard of Oz. I've read the books, absolutely loved the original film, and I've even grown to love Sam Raimi's take on the world of Oz. Yeah, a lot of people complained that it was Disney trying to find another property to adapt into live action like Alice in Wonderland, but unlike that film, I felt like it had some genuine passion put into it. Hell, I'd go as far as to say that I liked the movie every bit as much as I liked the original Judy Garland musical. But if anything fans of Oz should be grateful for, is that this movie isn't the recently released box office dud Legends of Oz, a movie that surprisingly surrounded around controversy regarding its investors and what they had to do to get this turkey off the ground. But that's a story for another time. Possibly a slightly longer review on the Cartoon-Palooza type of story. Let's focus on the plot, or lack of. Right off the bat, the movie has problems where it doesn't know what story to tell. I still don't know if it's a spiritual sequel to the original musical, or if it's a sequel to the books. For example, we see the Lion, Scarecrow, and Tin Man trying to fight off a great evil, and they call for help for Dorothy, without explaining who these characters are. Now imagine if you were a kid who doesn't know or hasn't seen the original musical. How would you know who these characters are? For all you know, Dorothy could be a waitress at Denny's. They don't do a good job explaining who they are and where they came from. Even though they reference things that directly come from the original musical, the designs are everything and anything other than the design of that film. So much so that the film takes place in present day. How do I know this? Dorothy is voiced by the physical representation of the word obnoxious, is back home only to find that the tornado left her place in ruins. This may as well be another problem with the film. Dorothy doesn't have anything interesting or defining to make us invested in her story. At least in the original, we knew that Dorothy was supposed to understand that she should be happy to have a home, despite wanting to have something colorful and adventurous in her life. Here, her motives are driven from a lazy plot you could have taken out of Captain Planet, where the evil bad guy wants to take over the land. So when she finally gets to Oz, she gets a distress call from Scarecrow to save them, because they're their only hope, Obi-Wan, or some bullcrap like that. Basically, this leads her to the typical adventure through Oz that actually shares a strong connection to the books they're adapted from. I mean, it's been years since I've read them, but the stories of Oz always centered around Dorothy meeting quirky characters who are missing something in their lives, and decide to help her with her quest. I mean, if I were to complain about this, I may as well complain about the things that made the book so enjoyable for me as a kid. So, in that aspect, it's done fair at best. It only gets botched up with a secondary story with the Great Evil, played by Martin Short, who wants to take control of the land. Now this could have been taken out, or at least left the main focus of the film on Dorothy and her new friends finding their way back home. We don't need more bad puns or wasted celebrity voice work to make up for this. Hell, it would have given those upset investors a reason to actually pursue a project like this in the first place. Again, a story for another time. It doesn't add up to much since I noticed the movie was only an hour and a half. Seems like a decent running time, but for both these plots and what most animated films are doing today, pales in comparison. I hope you're not under the impression that I like this movie, because I don't. It's a terrible movie. I just think given the audience that they were trying to aim for, and some of the character designs, which range from gorgeously rendered to unintentionally creepy, the film had potential, to say the least. More so than a lot of the other crap I had to sit through this year. The script is lazy, mostly comprised of bad puns that makes Cloudy 2 look like a walk in the park. The songs are terribly written, and the pacing and tone is never consistent. However, with the few cute character designs and attempt at trying to make a true successor to the adventures of L. Frank Baum's world, you can tell that there was some effort put into it. It's like one of those animators was this young, bright-eyed fellow with big ambitions to make a true, honest story to the world of Oz. He tells his director about all the wonderful characters Dorothy would meet, and how it doesn't have to rely on the original musical for reference. And then I imagine the director or producer going,
"Sure, but does it have Martin Short in a clown getup? And could it end with Annie M using a chainsaw?"